Planning Sherford's arrival has taken 2 decades, and its construction finally started 2 years ago. The vision has always been, and continues to be, that Sherford will be a unique, sustainable and thriving new community. The Sherford Consortium, a partnership between Bovis Homes, Linden Homes and Taylor Wimpey, is to submit plans concerning the future of Sherford, intended to make Sherford an even better place to live. A planning application will be submitted in early 2018, and this video gives an overview of what is planned for Sherford and why changes are needed.
So over the last year we've undertaken a review of the plan in total, and that started with a technical review. We've looked at all the topography, we've looked at the underlying geology to understand where Rockhead is. We've also then looked at how we drain the rest of the site. This is Devon, it's lumpy, there's lots of hills, it varies from 1 in 4 in parts, which is incredibly steep, to 1 in 20. And building on flatland's easy and building on hills isn't. So what we've tried to do is identify the best areas to build on. But also the main reason for the review is to ensure that water is dealt with in a sustainable way. Now water will always flow downhill, and it flows downhill faster when it's steeper hills. So what we've tried to do is accommodate that flow in locations that can allow it to be stored in a proper way and a safe way. What we're doing is bringing green space into the site to accommodate additional drainage. It's very important that we keep up with current legislation for drainage, especially with the elements of flooding that you hear about in the news these days, and that's going to get more and more, and it's important that we adhere to the requirements of the Environment Agency. So when we talk about sustainable drainage, we talk about what this means is that we are incorporating elements of water storage within the confines of the site and fitting in with the landscape. This technical plan actually does show the extent of the areas that would become wet, full of water, to about a depth of about a metre at the largest events when a lot of rain has deluged the site. So generally, most of these will stay dry, and they'll be usable spaces because of the manner in which these are designed. They're very, very shallow on one side to allow you to walk into them and across them unfettered, especially in this area here, you can see that. That means that they're usable spaces when it's dry, and then they serve a function when it rains to hold back the water that the site produces. So the key changes being applied for in this application are the introduction of quite significant green infrastructure corridors. Now, these corridors sit on the stream valleys that run through the site. And off these areas we've designed new drainage basins that will have a mixture of uses. They'll have storage use when there's flood storage is required, and when they're dry they'll be usable for recreation, both sort of lying around in the sun having a picnic, or kicking a ball around. So they're designed in a way that they don't look like deep ponds. They are open spaces to be used. The benefit of this is this brings it into a far more modern sort of master plan, where it takes on board the opportunity for multifunctional green space, which is right on your doorstep. There's a different sort of characters and treatment to the green fingers that run through, and these it varies from the very natural, which has a strong formal edge but then very quickly falls away into being far more wildlife dominated and a natural corridor, but still being very accessible for residents, to the more formal arrangement within the central Sherford corridor, Sherford Stream corridor, I should say, which has nicely arranged elements within a formal setting of townhouses fronting out onto that very beautiful space with the retention of existing trees. There's been a lot of research recently that shows that having a view of green space or trees helps with mental well-being. The original design for Sherford was to create a new town on the edge of Plymouth. This is something that we still want to achieve, and the essence of town will definitely stay within Sherford. Sherford will now have, however, 3 more distinct neighbourhoods as they sit within an overall landscape, which they interact with in a far more open way. The previous plan had a very polarised situation where it was very urban on the northern side, and then the country part was to the south. What we've done to accommodate the requirements of drainage is bring some of that country park into the town. That means it's more accessible, but it doesn't diminish the town in any way. You'll still have that great urban feel in the main streets and in the local centres, but it will feel softer at the edges, and it will have a better mix of place, where you do have the urban and you also have the semi-rural and access to rural areas, and also areas that will have a distinct feeling of being suburban, where people have a bit more space. Here you can see that the green corridors that are taking the majority of the drainage actually do create the 3 distinct neighbourhoods that make up Sherford as a whole. And at the heart of the neighbourhoods are the high streets and local centres that provide commercial and community facilities for each of their communities. You'll have a primary school in each. The western neighbourhood has the secondary school. The high street here in the main part of the town on Main Street will deliver significant shopping opportunities, and the smaller neighbourhood here sitting on Southern Avenue again will have a small high street as well. Well, Sherford's still going to be an amazing place to live, but we just made it better. We've brought in the green space into the town. That gives you some fantastic opportunities for passive and active recreation, and being able to walk out of your door, down through a really beautiful green corridor, down into the country park, and use all of those facilities on your doorstep will make it a really fabulous place to live.
Sustainability has always been one of the cornerstones of the vision for Sherford, and the new master plan is designed to make Sherford more sustainable than ever before. The Sherford Consortium has sought out ways to make Sherford a greener, healthier and more environmentally friendly place than it was planned previously, creating an even better place to live and a lasting legacy.